it's Evie Baron-Hernandez with Healthy Girl, and I am going to go over a classic today, and that's how to make pinto beans, one of my absolute favorites. And I'm sure all my Hispanic friends are thinking, why is she teaching people how to make pinto beans? Because they're so easy, and everybody in the Hispanic community is already making them all the time already. Well, if you were anything like me, I didn't actually make my first pot of beans until I was about 30 because my mom always made them. And my brother, who I visited this summer, 37 years old, loves them. He's a vegan, never made a pot of beans either. So I'm sure there's a lot of you out there absolutely love pinto beans as well, never made them, so I'm going to show you how to make them. Step number one, what you do is I would usually get a small to medium sized bag of beans because you want to make everything in the bag. You don't want anything left over because that usually goes to waste anyway. So usually a small to medium sized bag of beans. You're going to separate out the bad beans and the debris. So I usually get a clear mat so that I can just lay them out on my table. And you're going to separate the beans that are cut in half, or sometimes you're going to see some dark colored, discolored beans or some shriveled up beans. You're also going to find debris in there like stones and rocks and other things in there that you're just going to want to separate out. And that's just going to go in the trash. And what I do is I just spread them out flat and look for the bad beans and pick them out. And then in that little pile that I separated things out in, I just put them into a strainer. Once they're in the strainer, what I do is I rinse them out thoroughly in cold water. Then step number two, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to soak these babies for about 8 hours. What soaking them does to them is it prevents them from you getting gassy. So a lot of people say beans make me real gassy, or some people may complain that they love beans but they really hurt their stomach. This actually helps neutralize that so that you don't get so gassy after eating beans. So I don't want people to absolutely love my beans but then feel awful after eating them, so I try to soak them before I make them. Then after you do that, what you do is you will put, for every cup of beans that you make, you want to put 3 cups of water is about the measurement. I kind of eyeball it usually. And you want to bring your beans to a boil. Once you bring them to a boil, you want to lower to medium heat, and you want to let them cook approximately 2 hours. You're going to want to check them depending on your pot. Some pots might cook them a little faster. Some pots it may take a little longer to cook. Now, you don't want to add any seasoning with salt until the beans are almost ready, because this will cause them to cook much longer if you add salt at the very beginning. I know a lot of people will do that right away. Your beans will take 2 to 3 times longer to cook if you add the salt right away. So you want to wait until the beans are almost ready before you add the salt, and they'll soak them in just fine. Recently, my dad actually sent me this, which I absolutely love. It's a treasure. It is pinto bean seasoning, and I add this in when I add the salt. I usually add a couple of tablespoons full. I usually add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of salt. So you're really going to have to figure out how salty you want your beans. The good thing is with beans is if it's not salty enough, you can always add more salt. So you might want to start with a couple of tablespoons, see if you like them. If not, you can always add more salt until you feel they're where you're at. You may want to look at some recipes as well. So I usually eat my fresh pinto beans straight out of the pot. I'll put them hot in a bowl. That's my favorite thing to do, is eat a fresh bowl of pinto beans. I usually top it with chopped up tomato, onion, and avocado. My favorite way to eat them. My husband likes putting rice underneath it, some Spanish rice. I usually have some of that made for him, so he'll put some Spanish rice underneath the beans as well. Then we'll have the rest of the pot for the rest of the week, and we'll be making it all and eating off of it all week long. So I'll refry the beans with chorizo, which is yummy. I'll refry the beans with nothing but maybe a little bit of oil and make tostadas one night. We'll eat the refried beans in little taquitos. So there's so many different ways you can eat these beans, and they can last you a whole week. So refried beans. Now the nutritional value, they are high in fiber. They are high in iron, and they are a good source of protein for you. They have a lot of good vitamins and minerals. I know they have some of your vitamin B's in there for you as well. And there are some studies show that they do help level off your blood sugar, so they're great for diabetics, for you to integrate beans into your diet regularly, as well as cholesterol. And there's a huge study that they did that showed people who ate beans on a regular basis had a much lower rate of having a heart attack than those people who didn't eat beans as a source of protein in their diet. So beans are just all around a great source for you. Absolutely love them. Enjoy.